You're listening to the Just Go Bike podcast. We're all about the culture of bicycling just for the fun of it. Your host, Kathy Murphy from the Morphology podcast and Andrea Parrott from Parrott Talk are joined by a wide variety of guests each week that delve into the social side of cycling. With tales from RAGBRAI Nation, come for the bikes, stay for the fun, and leave with a smile. And now, here are your hosts, Murph.
Hey, that's me.
And AP.
And that's me. Hi, Murph.
Well, hey there, AP. How are you?
I am so good right now. And you want to know why?
I do know why. And this is a super, super exciting day. And if podcasts, like if we could actually be recording our faces, I'm guessing both of us would be panning down to our feet right now.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I'm grinning like an idiot sitting alone in my office recording this podcast right now. But yeah, pan to my feet. It would show a pair of brand new custom Crocs. That's right, Crocs.
Yep. Just Go Bike Podcast, Crocs.
Yeah, we are so excited. Thank you to our buddy Jake Hayes from Crocs who made this happen.
Yes, they are so cool. And they even have, I'm going to screw it up. Are they called gibbets?
You got it.
Okay.
This is the first time in the history of ever that Murph has said gibbets correctly on the first try.
I know. I always add an L. And so, okay, so gibbets. So Jake actually added a parrot gibbet and a Irish shamrock gibbet. So we are so excited. Listeners, you are going to see these Crocs more than you want to see. So just be prepared.
I know. I was just telling Murph the biggest challenge is going to be keeping these Crocs nice until we reach RAGBRAI so that the riders can actually see us wearing these Crocs.
I know.
I'll be wearing them everywhere.
Yeah. I've sworn to myself that I will only wear them in the house. So we'll see. We'll see how long that lasts.
And I got them in sport mode, baby. All right. So obviously we're super excited about the Crocs. If you would like custom Crocs for your team, all you need to get is 6. There's a 6 minimum on ordering custom Crocs. And so just to be clear, it's the clog type plastic shoe that's all the rage right now.
Yeah.
And they are completely, I don't know if sublimated is the right word, but the covering of the Croc is a totally custom design. It has our logo on them.
Yeah. And on the back, on the part when you can put it into sport mode, it says Just Go Bike back there as well.
It's so cool. Yeah. So if you're interested, just reach out to us at justgobikepodcast@gmail.com and you could get your own custom Crocs.
Yeah. We'll get you in touch with Jake. And thanks again, Jake. This is such an awesome, it was kind of a surprise, like opening the package. I was like, oh my gosh, these are great.
Croc for life, baby. All right. So on to the rest of our business for today.
Well, I will say one more thing about Crocs is it adds to the Murph AP collection because we also have the sparkle ones.
We do. We also have sparkle Crocs. So we're working our way up to one pair of Crocs for every day of the week.
Oh, man. That might be too much.
It wouldn't fit in my suitcase.
And didn't somebody, Matt Fippen or somebody, ask you if they make Crocs that you can put the cleats in for your bike?
Oh, now that's a good idea.
I know. Somebody should
Actually, Jake, write that down. Yeah, Jake, write that down.
Okay, so a little other business, RAGBRAI registration. I feel like we are coming to a point where you've got to either decide to go or not to go.
That's right. The point is now, because tomorrow, May 15th, RAGBRAI registration is closed. You can register all the way through the 15th. Up until 11:59 p.m., you could register. And I think you should. It's going to be one of the prettiest RAGBRAIs ever.
Mm-hmm.
It will be hilly, but it will be so gorgeously scenic. Mm-hmm. And if you were turned off by some of the massive crowds last year for RAGBRAI 50, it'll be a little bit more like the normal RAGBRAI that you have experienced in the past if you've ridden RAGBRAI before. The numbers will be back to normal. So I think you can enjoy. You'll be looking forward to a really, really enjoyable RAGBRAI. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and registration does close on the 15th. But then if you have changed your mind and you decide to ride later down the road, first of all, I hope you're still training anyway.
Yes.
But second of all, you could buy a registration in one of two ways. One, you could buy somebody's wristband that they're reselling on the market. And we have a Facebook page just for that purpose. It's called RAGBRAI Wristband Transfers. Or you can purchase a wristband on the ride. And in our big blue merchandise trailers that will be located in every overnight town, you can purchase day passes. So you would be able to buy a wristband on the ride. So
Okay, good.
yeah, it's not over till it's over, but I would register online if possible because it's just easier and less hassle.
Yeah, and I would assume a little bit less expensive than if you decide to get a wristband for each day when you show up to RAGBRAI.
That is right. It is less expensive. So it's a deal.
All right, cool.
All
So,
right.
well, what's coming up?
Well, so we have a couple things coming up, but let's start first talking about the Pigtails Ride, which is coming up this weekend on May 18th.
Yes, and this is a Iowa Bicycle Coalition event. So people who participate in Pigtails are actually contributing money that goes to the Iowa Bicycle Coalition and all the good stuff that they do for cyclists in Iowa.
And it's an all-women's ride, so men find something else to do that day because this is all about the ladies. It's on the High Trestle Trail, and it's about 45 miles, I believe. So it's a very accessible distance, especially if you've already been training for RAGBRAI.
Yes.
It's a fun time.
Yes, and I will be there. So I look forward to seeing any of the other ladies who are on the High Trestle Trail that day. It is pretty cool. I think it's 48 miles. It's an out and back. And once you get to the halfway point, you have the option to bike another, I think it's maybe 2.5 miles, and it will take you to the iconic High Trestle Trail Bridge, which is quite a sight. So, if it's a beautiful day, it's definitely going to be worth your time to keep going forward. And I believe that's where Christopher Mahari will be taking photos of all the riders.
Yeah, and they'll have attractions and stops all along the trail, back and forth. You can find out more about it at pigtailsride.com. And you can also find a really cool bio that they did of Murph. So shout out to IBC and Pigtails for doing a sweet bio of our favorite biker.
Yay. And there is still time to register. I haven't decided what I'm going to be wearing. It'll either be a Just Go Bike jersey or I may be wearing like my Murphology podcast jersey. But either way, I am going to have stickers with me for both Just Go Bike and my other podcast. So say something if you see me because I will give you a sticker.
Oh, exciting. And if you see Murph off the bike, you just might see the Crocs. You never know.
No, I can't take them outside yet.
Oh, right. Sorry. Okay. But I won't be there.
I was going to say, are you going to be at Pigtails?
No, I'm brokenhearted to say that I will not be able to do Pigtails this year, but it's for good reason because I get to go work at the Tour of the Bat and Kill in upstate New York this weekend.
Nice. And of course, if you've been listening to this podcast, you'll know that we did an entire episode on Tour of the Bat and Kill. I can put a link in the show notes just in case you don't want to look for it, but it's pretty informative if you want to not do Pigtails and get your booty to New York City. To upstate New York.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting. I have worked on Bat and Kill for 3 years now, and this is my first time I get to attend. So it's a real treat.
Cool.
And I look forward to seeing the bike culture in another part of the country that I haven't been to before. So I'll be reporting on that in the next episode.
Excellent. Okay, should we get to the topic of today's episode?
Yeah, and actually it's another awesome bike ride, right?
Yes, it's called the Wabash Open. I believe this is going to be the 3rd year for this event. And so I sat down with Erin and Matt. They are 2 of the organizers to kind of dig into this. It's a one-day event, and this is near and dear to both of our hearts, AP, but it takes place on the Wabash Trace Nature Trail.
Yeah, it's so cool, and couldn't be a better cause. And even better than all that, it's an 18-hole mini golf game that you play while you're biking.
Yes, and I did ask the question because I was trying to figure out, like, okay, let's say I'm biking this. Do I have to carry a putter with me? Like, how does that work? But she said no. They have area businesses that are sponsoring each hole, and they'll have the clubs and the balls and whatever adventure it is. And all of these take place along the trail. So you basically are biking hole to hole. So it just sounds so fun.
It's so fun. And top secret, I love mini golf. I have mini golf skills that have been unrevealed as of yet, it'd be game on. So, and it's a Goonies theme. So for those of you who love the Goonies like I do, Goonies never say die, and they always say, we're going to ride this bike ride. So
yeah. So
I'm pretty pumped.
You're going to hear from Erin and Matt in a second here, but just, if you're thinking about doing something kind of unique and fun and experiencing the Wabash Trace Nature Trail, grab a couple teammates, get some outfits that are Goonie related, and try and hit this event. It sounds really fun.
That's so exciting. I can't wait to hear more about the event. And before we go, I wanted to give my dad a shout out because a couple episodes ago we gave my mom a shout out. So, Hi, Dad. Here's to Alan. Dad's out there biking in the Iowa City, Coralville area almost every day. So you might see him out there if you ever go biking around there. So, hi, Dad.
All right. Well, let's get to this episode about the Wabash Open. Well, a very warm welcome to the Just Go Bike podcast, Erin and Matt. Hey, how are you guys doing?
I'm great. How are you, Murph?
Hey.
Good. Well, we are on today to talk about a pretty cool event that I have not seen in action yet, but it's called the Wabash Open. And I'm excited that you two took the time to talk to me about it.
Yeah, we're thrilled to be here. We're both huge fans of the podcast. Thank you so much for entertaining our company today.
Yeah, sweet. Well, I have been on the Wabash Trace, which is a bike trail, quite a few times, and I absolutely love it. So I'm excited to talk specifically about that. And then, of course, about your event called the Wabash Open. But before we get into that, will each of you maybe tell the listeners where you live and what cycling is like there?
Yeah, I can start. So I live in Southwest Iowa. I'm right outside the Omaha Council Bluffs area. And, we have a lot of trails here in the area, primarily in Omaha and Council Bluffs. Maybe not quite as many as in Des Moines, which we also like to frequent. But I would say that personally, like you mentioned, the Wabash Trace is probably my favorite trail in the area. It's just a beautiful, pristine limestone trail, lots of shade. I got my start in biking on the trail with the taco ride, which you might be familiar with, and I've never looked back since. So it's where I started, and it's still my favorite trail.
When I got to do the taco ride, we were doing it on the eve of what's called the Birds and Bees ride, which was on the Wabash Trace.
Oh yeah.
And it went from sprinkle to pouring down rain that night.
Oh.
And so not only were all of our bikes filthy, the trail was really squishy. And then we got to whatever the restaurant is at the halfway point.
Toby Jack's?
Yes, yeah. And they had everyone had to take their shoes off, and they put garbage bags on all the chairs. So it was so funny. Like, how when you go to get back on your bike and you're like, okay, all these bike shoes look the same because they were all full of mud and wet. But it was an amazing, amazing evening. So anyway.
We've been on many taco rides where we've been a little wet.
Yeah.
It's funny that you remember that in such a, fun way. My husband has a term for that. He calls it type 2 fun.
Yeah, it was definitely type 2. Like, we're like halfway there. I'm like, what do you do at this point? Do you turn around because, this is miserable? Or do you just keep going and, take it all in? So that's what we did. But anyway, how about you, Erin?
Same as Matt. I live just outside of Council Bluffs. I've been riding the Wabash Trace since 2009 when I first moved out to the area.
She's a veteran.
I'm familiar with the Cedar Rapids area, which I believe that's where you're from, Murph.
Yes, that's correct.
I grew up just outside, closer to Robbins.
Oh,
so
sure.
I was only a couple miles away from the Cedar Valley Nature Trail, and both trails are very similar.
Mm-hmm.
But now having the Wabash a mile away from my home is huge for me. The trail is very near and dear to me.
Sure. And we have an episode, I will share it in the show notes, where we talk to the posse that maintains the Wabash Trace, which I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's a privately owned trail that volunteers keep up all the upkeep. And so if you want to learn more about Wabash Trace, I'll put that episode in the show notes.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. It's not supported by any tax dollars, all privately maintained. And it's really supported by, volunteers, like Erin and I and many, many others, the group that you were talking to. And events like the Wabash Open are going to help support that maintenance and continued public use of this trail, which we all love.
Okay, so we've got an amazing event we're going to talk about, and it's for a good cause because, like you just said, in order to keep up a private trail that you keep open to the public, the funds got to come from somewhere.
Yeah, absolutely. So everything from our registration cost to any money that maybe you donate at lunch. The midway point for our ride will have a free will donation for lunch that's being provided by our local Hy-Vee. So burgers, brats, hot dogs, anything that is contributed to the lunch fund will go straight back to the trail.
Nice.
Yeah, in fact, the person that came up with this event and is actually leading the event with Erin and I his name is Kurt Stender, and he's actually on the board of that manages this trail. It's the Southwest Iowa Nature Trail Project. I have to, it's a mouthful, but it's a 20-person board. Again, all volunteers. And Kurt Stender, he's the vice president on this, and he's been coming up with some great ideas. And we can get into that, but he is the brainchild of this idea.
Cool. Okay, well, let's talk about it. It's called Wabash Open, and I know that it's been going on for at least a couple of years. But tell us what it is and maybe, how it came to be.
This will be Saturday, June 8th.
Yeah, the event starts at 11 a.m. We have check-in at 9, and then it runs roughly till 6 or 7 or whenever the last party goers want to leave. So we think it's a very unique ride. And, of course, we talked about the Wabash Trail, which is our favorite trail. But it combines riding bikes, which we all love, and miniature golf, which is kind of a weird combination. But one night, Kurt Stender, who we talked about, went to a bar stool open in downtown Omaha where you go from bar to bar and have miniature golf putting. And later that night, about 3 a.m., I get a text. Me and a couple other buddies get a text like, "I got a great idea for a bike ride." And we're like, "Oh no, what is he getting us into now?" But so we got together the next couple of weeks and we're kind of like brainstorming, how can we do this? And we thought, well, what if we got all these local businesses and cycling teams and just enthusiasts of the trail to sponsor a hole and build a hole along the Wabash Trace. And we can have people register as teams, and we can have a mini golf tournament. You ride your bike from hole to hole, and we can tally all the scores at the end, have a little party, and all in a good cause to raise money for the trail. And so we started it in 2022 as the inaugural one, and it was a huge success. It really turned out better than we expected. It was a little chaotic at times, but we learned a lot. And last year we did it for the second time, and it was a lot smoother, went great. And now we're on our third year. Okay,
so let me try and understand this. I'm on my bike. I have to be a part of a 4-person team.
Not necessarily. So
okay.
You're more than welcome to golf it all by yourself, but that's a little sad. But we encourage groups of 2 to 4. So as you can be as few as 1, but we do say 4 is kind of the max. Now that doesn't mean that you can't necessarily tag along with a group if you're not part of the team. And then if you don't want to ride your bike, you just want to come for the party in Mineola at the end, by all means, that's welcome too. This year we are welcoming Spare Change. They're a band out of Omaha. I personally have not heard them. My close friend Robin of mine, Robin Epley, she loves them. She says that they're like a kind of a mid 2000s cover band. So like rock band. I've heard great things about them, so we're excited to welcome a band this year. That's the first time we've had that on the schedule.
Yeah. I would say too, you're kind of asking, how does it work? And it is a little complicated. So, and this is one thing that we really struggled about how to do it. And we thought, well, we could have people start at different times. We could do this, that, and the other. But we kind of circled around a shotgun start, or what we call a modified shotgun start. So we have 18 holes of sponsors that have miniature golf holes, and our cycling team actually sponsors one as well. And we have these series of two to four people in teams or singles. We've never had any singles though. There's always been teams, and we have to stagger them to start at different positions along the course. So we decided we're all going to start at a certain time, and we're all going to traverse this course, in a shotgun style. If you've ever had played a shotgun golf tournament, and the way we kind of decided upon it, because there's different riding levels, we didn't want to have people backtrack too much, and so we asked when people are registering, we ask their riding level. And so we put the weaker riders where they don't have to backtrack as much, and we put the stronger riders where they do. So let's say, for example, you were a strong rider and we started you at hole number 10. You would start at hole number 10 and you would go 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then after you get to 1, you go back to hole number 11 and then sequentially down.
Okay.
So it's
in the Wabash Trace, just in case people don't know, is like a straight shot, right? It's a former rail trail.
That's correct. So the route itself from Council Bluffs to Mineola is about 10 miles. It's a little windy, but more or less it's a pretty straight shot. Those first 6 miles out of Council Bluffs have a very gradual uphill before you get to what we call Margaritaville, kind of the little party.
Which you probably experienced on the Taco ride.
Yes, I did, in the rain.
So that midway point is kind of like, we like to call it the top of the hill. And then the last 4 miles, you basically just sail straight into Mineola. It's a nice coast. Again, it's mostly shaded, so it's a very comfortable backside of the.
Yeah, we have the front side is holes 1 through 13 up to Margaritaville, and that's where all the festivities with the lunch that Erin was mentioning is being provided. We're gonna have a fiddle player there too this year, and that's where a lot of the fun happens. And then after that, then you proceed down the hill to Toby Jack's, kind of like a traditional taco ride.
Sure.
For the remaining holes.
Wow, it sounds
like a taco ride.
Yeah, I was gonna say it sounds like a blast because not only are you actually biking on a beautiful trail, you're also like stopping and starting and doing the whole golf thing, and putt golf. Like, you don't have to be a professional golfer to thoroughly enjoy playing that way. And then I'm guessing if you have local businesses and bike clubs and such sponsoring the holes, are they also kind of making it a party atmosphere?
Absolutely. So not only do we have local bike teams and individuals, there's a lot of bars, and we have a brewery. We'll do a shout out to Cade Creek Brewery, one of our favorite breweries there in Glenwood, Iowa. They sponsor a hole. And so, yes, they are also making a party. They're giving out samples and refreshments and all the things you can imagine. It's kind of like a taco ride, but on Saturday, and you get to play mini golf.
Cool. Yeah. So people who can't make it because taco rides are on Thursdays, correct?
Correct.
Yeah. So that, if you can't make it, if you actually, have to work and all that sort of thing, this is a perfect opportunity to have a lot of fun with a bunch of other people.
Absolutely. I do want to throw out one quote from our friend Cole Epley. He has been, in the past, has called this event the most RAGBRAI thing that isn't RAGBRAI. It really is, though. I mean, the camaraderie that you end up developing, like running into the same people throughout the day, or like maybe running into someone who works at a bar in town that you recognize. It really, Council Bluffs kind of is a small town, even though we're so tied to the metro. Mm-hmm. You do end up seeing the same people on this trail, and that's what makes it so much fun.
It really was the first year. It just kind of just spontaneously happened, and it was really, really fun. And so we're just trying to continue that fun spirit.
And speaking of fun spirit, will you talk a little bit about the theme, because I love this.
And now, time for a training tip.
Let's talk hill climbing tips. Here are just a couple of tips that I think could make you even better than you already are at climbing those hills. First off, choose the right gears. This takes some practice, but you want to be able to change into an easier gear before it gets too hard to pedal. This keeps your momentum moving and you moving forward. Also, increase your cadence. Cadence is how fast you're spinning the pedals. You're spending much less energy in an easy gear spinning fast rather than being in a hard gear and grinding up that hill. And this is something you can practice on the straightaways. Just click into harder gears and notice how your body is grinding versus going into easier gears and your pedals are spinning faster. Next tip, practice hill repeats. Find a moderate hill in your neighborhood and go up and down it as often as you can. Practice that higher cadence and using more of your gears. And finally, positive self-talk. Difficult bike rides are as much mental as they are physical. Talk to yourself in the same way you would cheer on your child or best friend. Create some sort of short mantra that you can chant to yourself during difficult parts of the ride. You can do it. Now back to the show.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, okay, I'll let Erin do the thing here. But the first 2 years, we centered around Caddyshack, obviously, for golfing reasons. And we had a lot of people dressing up as characters, just spontaneously doing it. Erin, I think you were a character last year. We had Bill Murray, the whole Caddyshack theme. And so this year, we decided to vote as a team what we were going to do. And
yeah, we kind of threw around some other ideas, like what would be fun for costumes. And eventually we settled on, okay, let's come up with what's your favorite 80s movie? And we basically collaborated and everybody kind of settled on
almost unanimously it was
Goonies. If you have not seen Goonies, you're doing yourself a disservice. You need to watch it tonight.
I'm not Erin, you're gonna go as Andy this year, right?
I got my yellow sweater already.
I think I might have to be Chunk. I don't know.
And of course, Goonies is a classic movie and there's an amazing, connection with bicycling there. So that's awesome.
Absolutely. We even have nice t-shirts that have a whole Goonies theme. And
oh, that's great.
It's a lot of fun. I'm excited to see what people show up as.
And some of the team names that we've already seen are so creative that are Goonies related. So even if, like you said, even if you just come to see the leaderboard at the very end, the names are hilarious.
And will you've mentioned it a couple times, some towns and, the Margaritaville, but will you kind of just give us a overview of start location, end location, and what's in between?
Yeah, certainly. So the start location is just south of Lewis Central High School, which is, if you're not familiar with the Council Bluffs area, shortly after where I-80 and I-29 intersect, to the south, that very first exit off onto 92, Highway 92, is where Lewis Central High School is.
Okay.
And the trailhead is just a little bit further down, just slightly further south.
And there's plenty of parking.
Mm-hmm.
It's a traditional parking spot for the taco ride.
And then the trail does run kind of in a southeasterly direction to the town of Mineola, is where our event will conclude. Now, the trail itself, though, is 63 miles. So I for one, would certainly encourage anyone who's not familiar with it to explore, all the other towns on the trail.
Absolutely. It's a beautiful trail. We've ridden the full length a couple times, but it's a great trail. It's really well maintained. It's beautiful. Mm-hmm. We're very, very excited about this, and we had him last year, but anybody that's familiar with RAGBRAI knows the Iowa Beer Bus.
Oh, Mike Mott, huh?
Mike Mott, a.k.a. Big Sexy, is going to be there at the Wabash Open at Margaritaville this year, serving the finest craft beer from Iowa. So we're very, very excited about that.
And will he be bringing his signature bus?
Sadly, it's a little difficult to get the big bus to the Margaritaville. We do have a really strong working partnership with a private landowner that Margaritaville borders.
Uh-huh.
However, we just don't want to tear up his yard. So
Sure.
Sadly, it's a trailer.
it's a trailer that he brings. It's probably a lot more economical for him to make it all the way out here for a smaller event. The bus is a little overkill, and then we don't want to tear up the private landowner's
Right.
land.
But the amazing part is you're kind of in the middle of nowhere on a bike trail, and then all of a sudden you pop up into a makeshift bar on the trail, but you're going to have the Iowa Beer Bus, like the guys from the Iowa Beer Bus there to help everyone celebrate.
They're amazing, and it's a big deal for us to have them here in Western Iowa. We're not going to lie. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah. So, you said you could be in teams of 2 or 4, and, if you really want to come alone, that's fine too. But how many people participate in this event?
So last year we had almost 200.
Oh, wow.
And that was probably around 50 teams, and with other people kind of just tagging along for the festivities. So we were probably a little over 200 people. So we're hoping to do a little more this year.
Mm-hmm.
Especially with the band, we're hoping with Spare Change being at Toby Jackson, Mineola, we're hoping that their crowd will come even just for the music.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. And you're registering, and that a lot of that money is going towards, trail maintenance and all things good for the trail. But as far as like support, you mentioned that Hy-Vee was sponsoring lunch. You mentioned Iowa Beer Bus. Mike Mott will be on the route. And then you have music, right? So you have all kinds of things happening in addition to the fun of golfing and biking.
Absolutely. It's kind of morphed into a mini party kind of thing. And we have some great people that Erin included that help organize this and put this together. And again, all for a good cause, to going back to the trail to maintain it.
And we have asked all of our sponsors that actually are sponsoring a hole to have water on hand.
Mm-hmm.
It's June 8th. It could be pretty warm out, and not everyone thinks about what hydration levels they need throughout a longer day like that.
And we would like to name all of them, but we have quite a few sponsors, so we don't know if we want to name all of them and accidentally leave a few out. But they are wonderful, and they're mostly local businesses. And we will throw a shout out to Toby Jack's, which is the restaurant steakhouse that houses the taco ride and is also the ending of location for this event. And they're big supporters, and we definitely appreciate everything they do for this event and for the trail in general. They're huge help.
Yeah, I had a blast there, and I can't say enough good things about the actual Wabash Trace Nature Trail because it's just beautiful. I mean, I don't know when you're on the trail how far you are away from communities, but you feel like you're in the middle of nowhere. And then you pop up on a trail, and there's like usually a little, what would you call it? The little, the name of the town is there, like a little depot.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
There's some signage. The trail's really well marked for mileage as well. But
and being a rails to trail, there is a lot of history on the trail. And I'm not an expert on the history of the Wabash Trail, but I know there's at least 4 or 5 ghost towns along the way that were, incorporated back in the day when the rail line came through there. And there's a lot of history from railroad wrecks. In fact, you can still see some of the wreckage around Mineola there. So there is some history there.
Yeah.
As well.
So this is the 3rd Wabash Open. The theme is Goonies. And I am going to hope that since, listeners are hearing this before June 8th, that there's still time to register.
Absolutely. We will take registrations even the day of. We would rather you register ahead of time.
Give us some time to manage it, but yes, we will take it up to the day of.
And how can people find out more information?
Yes, so probably the best place is, you could probably do a Google search, but the Bike Iowa event webpage is probably the best place to go. Just go there and type in Wabash Open 3. You'll see the other 2 events there as well, but Wabash Open 3 is there, and you can have all the links to register. Check out the Facebook page from there. We actually have a link to the Google Maps route, so you can see where all the holes are located along the route, and kind of check it out.
So if I end up, actually I won't be able to come because AP and I are still on the RAGBRAI inspection ride on this day. I'm sorry. But if people sign up, do they have to bring their own ball and putter?
No, that will be, each hole will have balls and a provided putter.
Oh, so you don't even have to drag them on your bike.
You don't have to drag your clubs on your bike.
No.
Nope, we'll provide those.
just bring yourself and your bike.
and be ready to have a good time.
Oh, excellent. Good. So June 8th is the day, the Wabash Open, the third annual, I guess we can say. Is there anything else that I haven't talked about?
The only thing I'd like to point out is while we did say you could register the day of, we do have a price increase, unfortunately, on June 1st. So I would highly encourage, if you're interested, if you've got a few friends who you think you can count on to play some putt-putt and ride some bikes with you, do it before June 1st. The registration cost currently is $150 for the team of 4 or 2 to 4. On June 1st, it will go up by $25 to $175.
Okay. And that's still, I mean, that's not very much money for a full day of fun and helping out the trails.
Yeah, between 4 people, that's not very much. Absolutely.
Yeah. Is there any Wabash Open swag that people can buy?
Absolutely. In fact, we have a link in our Facebook page for some T-shirts that we produced. They have a Goonies theme. In fact, Erin, I think you're the model for this one, aren't you?
Nice.
But yeah, we put a lot of effort into the T-shirt, and we're hoping we can sell a lot of them for the trail.
Okay.
But
cool.
yeah, you can. So I guess a couple of ways you can buy. You can buy it when you register for the event through the registration site, or you can actually buy them through another link that we have with the local T-shirt company. So yeah, multiple ways.
I've just popped on to the registration, and there is a 50-50 raffle. Should we talk about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So this was one of the mistakes we made the first year. We had our ending hole at Toby Jackson. It kind of was chaotic and it caused a lot of congestion. So what we decided to do last year, and we're going to continue it this year, is we're having a putt off, if you will. So it's a raffle. You buy a raffle ticket and you get a putt on Toby Jack's very intricate and elaborate hole that they've built, and they've done. Bill and Kathy do a fantastic job on that. And so it's another little fundraising thing. So if you're waiting for your score to be tallied, listening to the band, and you want to participate in a putt off, buy a raffle ticket, you can putt in there and you see if you can win.
All right.
And shout out to AJ Wilkins, who's going to be managing that.
Cool. Okay, so that's kind of like the 19th hole, so to speak.
Exactly.
Okay. And what do you win? Let's just say that you're amazing with your putt-putt skills. What do you win?
Yeah, so it's a 50-50. So, whatever money we pull in from the raffle, you will win half of that. So if we pull in $300, you'll win 150, or whatever we pull in. If you pull in 1,000, you'll win a 500. So the more we sell, the more money you possibly win. Okay,
so you've got a couple days, weeks. I'm not really sure when this will go live, but you need to start practicing your putt-putt skills now, right?
One other thing I'd like to throw out there too, if you're on the registration site, you'll see a thing that we kind of came up with the second year called a mulligan. And it's just another little fundraising event. But if you want to redo one of your strokes on the course, you can purchase a mulligan ticket for $2 and give it to your whole sponsor, and they'll let you redo it.
Oh, that is awesome. I love it. Well, guys, this has been awesome learning more about the Wabash Open and, of course, about the Wabash Trace in general. I am hopeful that you guys have a super successful day, and even if it rains, it's going to be a blast because I've experienced that firsthand.
Thank you so much for having us on, Murph.
Yeah, thank you.
You bet.
Thanks for tuning in to the Just Go Bike podcast. Murph and AP will be back next week. In the meantime, check us out on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and X, formerly known as Twitter. And if you would like to contact Murph and AP with a comment about the podcast, or maybe you have a topic in mind, email them at justgobikepodcast@gmail.com. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe to this podcast, especially if you're a fan. Until next time,
just go bike!
Theme song by Ryan Steer. Logo by Suzanne Milosevic. Produced by Kathy Murphy. Social media by Andrea Parrott. Intro by Pumpkin. Until next time, just go bike.